Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Hope you guys enjoyed the cruising section of this video. As I said before, there weren't a lot of wing views because A330 is not compatible with the wing view structure. As you guys can see, I'll show you guys what I mean. If I go outside, for example, and if I look back, the aircraft model isn't really here. It's only this, what's it called, the cockpit that's here. So that's kind of unfortunate. You can see the beacon light blinking over here, but you don't really have the model of the aircraft, so I can't really go and set up wing views, unfortunately. So you might have seen a lot of these external shots, but that's all I have. Speaking of external shots, as you guys can see down there, we are currently over Manila. Sorry, not over Manila, over the island of Philippines. So we're going to be heading southwards, and we're going to be coming into Manila. We're about 97.3 nautical miles from when we need to be at 9,000 feet at this Oliva waypoint. So let's go ahead and start programming our descent. Now is as good as time as ever to start programming our descent. So let's go ahead and do that. So let's go ahead and jump into the MCDU here, perf page. And let's go into the approach phase. The QNH for our arrival is going to be 1008. That is checked. There we go. The arrival temperature is going to be, let me just check that real quick. It is 32 degrees. Wow, it's going to be very hot in Manila today. The wind conditions 130 at 6 knots, so not too much of a wind, not many gusts or anything, but it is coming from an odd direction, so we're going to be having a crosswind. The transition altitude I can go ahead and check right now, so let me just do that real quick. The transition altitude happens to be let's see. It is, transition level is 13,000 feet and transition altitude is 11,000 feet. So we're going to go ahead and enter 11,000 feet in here. And the decision height is, also going to check this real quick, 644 feet. So go ahead and enter that in here as well. There we go. We're going to be doing a Cat 3 arrival if I'm not mistaken. ILS runway 06, yeah, we're going to be doing a Cat 3 arrival. So yeah, that's pretty much it. The descent is programmed in, and we are at about 80 nautical miles, which is just about 4.7 nautical miles away. We're going to be starting our descent into Oliva. So at Oliva, we're supposed to be at 9,000 feet, so let's go ahead and put that in here. It's going to be quite a bit of a descent. We're going to be descending all the way about 28,000 feet, which is the height of Mount Everest. So we're going to be descending one Mount Everest down to that altitude of 9,000 feet. So let's go ahead and initiate that. 80 nautical miles should be good to go. So let's say open descent, and let's configure the rate of descent to around about 1,600 to 1,600 feet per minute sounds good. So let's make sure that that's working. So 1,600 feet per minute. There we go. The needle is coming down, the feet per minute is active, and we are also decreasing our altitude as we speak. We're coming down to about 2,200 feet of altitude, which is not very good. Alright, now we're climbing up again. Alright, in the meantime, I'm going to go ahead and load all the charts so that we know where we're parking. So let's get the airport information chart. So we don't really have any specific terminal we're supposed to land at today. We're supposed to park at today, I meant. But the runway we're landing at is going to be runway 06 with a length of 3,410 meters. So approximately a 3.5 kilometer runway. We're not going to need auto brake medium. We can go with auto brake low. So that is set. We'll go ahead and set the local QNH in the standby display. So 1008 can be set here. There we go. And the transition level, if you guys remember, was 130. So 13,000 feet. We'll go ahead and change the primary altimeter settings as well to 1008 over here. Apart from that, so we land at runway 06, we vacate the runway at Romeo 2 or Echo 3, and then we practically go ahead and park at any terminal we please. We can actually go ahead and cross that runway at Charlie 3 and go straight. Okay, so I'll leave a little screenshot of what I'm looking at, the chart here. And yeah, we can go ahead and park at Terminal 3. That sounds like a good parking spot. Basically, what I'm trying to say is we'll go there, we'll land, and we'll figure it out. That's the plan. And as for the actual arrival procedure, we have a missed approach altitude of 4,000 feet. Decision height is going to be 644 feet, as mentioned before. And yeah, it's a pretty simple arrival. Oh, apologies. Actually, I was looking at the VOR Yankee arrival for runway 06. We have to change something here. So the decision height for the ILS arrival is actually 264 feet, not 644. My apologies for that. And everything else is pretty much the same. So we're going to come in at the glide slope capture altitude is going to be 2,500 feet. And we have a little bit of a triangle pattern, so I'm going to show you guys that. Let's go into plan mode, and I'll show you guys. So that's the pattern I was talking about. So we come in from over there, then we take a right turn and head all the way here. We take a base select turn all the way to Charlie Foxtrot 06, then Foxtrot 06, and we have to track straight down around about 6 to 8 nautical miles down to the actual runway, which is over there. So we're going to be doing a little bit of a circular triangular pattern to be able to get to our to be able to land the aircraft successfully on runway 06. So that's the plan. We'll go ahead and dial the range back up to 80 nautical miles will suffice for now. So yeah, I'll let you guys enjoy the rest of the descent, and I will meet you guys when we are closer to the Oliva waypoint. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, so we are now about 21.4 nautical miles away from the Oliva waypoint at VOTAS. Now, the flight plan and the simulator itself says we're supposed to be at 6,000 feet. However, if I look at my actual Sim Toolkit Pro, SimBrief chart at VOTAS, it's telling us that we're recommended to be at about 4,200 feet instead. Now, I'm going to go with what it says here because I think we have a bit of a weird pattern in front and we don't want to descend too fast. At the moment, we're also speeding up quite a bit, so we're going to employ a few speed brakes here. Again, I've never really flown an A330 in any simulator, so I don't really know how slippery of an aircraft it is when it is descending. So might as well use a few speed brakes to be able to slow ourselves down to a more sedate pace. I'll go ahead and do a managed speed as well, so that we can maintain 250 knots all the way till we get to about 10,000 feet. After that, we'll start reducing our speed as well. So yeah, we're doing fine as of now. I'll dial the range down to 40 nautical miles. We're at 16,000 feet, and we have about 15.7 nautical miles to slow down. To decrease our altitude by about 6,000 feet. So yeah, we're doing fine. And at VOTAS, we're supposed to be at 6,000 feet. So we'll go ahead and dial the lower altitude in here as well. And just to make sure, we'll also go ahead and take managed speed one more time. I did dial the vertical speed a little bit higher when we were descending because I realized we were descending a little bit too slow. So we should be doing fine now. There we go. Should be maintaining around 2,000 feet per minute. And we're still maintaining 240 knots here, which is not very good. I want to maintain 250 knots if possible, sir. Okay, and we're also going to take spoilers in because we don't want the engines to go crazy. The only thing is that it's a combination of me not knowing how the A330 operates as well as the flight model of the A330 in the simulator not being very well defined. Because in no simulator would, or in any aircraft, the aircraft would never pitch down to about -2 degrees like that when it's trying to descend. I don't know. I guess it's just the kind of vertical speed that we have programmed in here, which is making it do that. But it's all right. We should be good to go in terms of that aspect. 260 knots is what we're maintaining. As we start getting closer to that altitude and we level out, we should get closer to our desired speed. We're also passing our transition level of 13,000 feet, so let's go ahead and set the local altimeter here. There we go. And instead of QFE, let's switch to QNH if possible. I don't think it's going to let us do that. Let's just go to 1008, and it should be synced across both sides. Yes, it is. And there we go. We're at about 11,800 feet. And yeah, the airport, according to this information, the airport should be just right in front of us because we're going to overfly the airport and do that traffic pattern. So the airport should be around about there somewhere. Currently, in terms of the terrain, we're not really seeing anything apart from just basic grassland structures and stuff like that in the distance. The terrain doesn't really look too much like, high detailed terrain for some reason. I have my Bing map data imagery turned on, but I don't know why it's not showing me the right imagery. Just pop out of this view and look outside. I guess it's fine. It's showing us some imagery down there. We have a few oxbow lakes and a few water bodies over there. That does look fantastic. I've never really visited the Philippines either. It's pretty close to Singapore where I live, so I should go there. I've visited Indonesia and a few other countries in Southeast Asia, but never really got around to visiting Philippines. But I'll do that sometime. Alright, below 10,000 feet, let's go ahead and turn on the landing lights as well as the wing lights. Let's give the cabin a chime, and let's also get these seatbelt signs on, just to instruct the cabin crew to sit down, as well as the passengers to sit their buttocks down. There we go. Slowing down. And we have about 16.5 nautical miles to descend down to 6,000 feet. After which, we're supposed to descend down to 4,000 feet, and then down to 2,500 feet for our glide slope capture. We'll also go ahead and arm the landing system on both sides so that we have a rough estimation of where to find the ILS beacon. Let's also get the vertical speed here dialed up so we can start descending down below 250 knots. Let's use spoilers. There we go. I really wish we had wing views in this aircraft, man. I hope they roll out an update where we could have wing views. It was like a really sad way of showcasing the aircraft when we don't have wing views. Especially when you're landing into a new country, you want to be able to experience all of this. Yeah. That's alright. We have some buildings down there. We have a few terrain mesh and stuff like that. Well, quite a few oxbow lakes here. If you guys don't know, oxbow lakes are these weird structures where the lakes go in like a zigzag amoeba kind of pattern. And there's quite a few of them, and tributaries and deltas that are leading on to the ocean here, which looks fantastic. I was hoping for a little bit of night lighting happening, and the current time in the simulator is 5:07 p.m. Sunset was slated to be at around 5:21 p.m. So as you guys can see, the sun is indeed setting, but I think we should be setting this aircraft down before sunset even happens. So yeah, take it as it is. We'll go ahead and reduce our rate of descent down to 600 feet now, and we'll go ahead and take these spoilers out. There we go. Maintaining 250 knots. We're going to slow down to 220 right after this VOTAS waypoint. I don't want to travel too slow because I want to get this landing up and ready. We've also got some ILS markers down here, so 20.3 nautical miles away from the actual runway. Now 20 nautical miles away. We have the glide slope available. Not going to use that just yet. And we also have our localizer available. So we're going to go straight, take a right, do this triangular pattern, and come back and land at runway 06 at Romeo Papa Lima Lima, or Manila International Airport. We'll also go ahead and dial the lower altitude in here. So let's go ahead and put 2,500 feet here, as that's our glide slope capture altitude. There we go, and actually we can begin slowing down to that descending down to that altitude at around about 1,000 feet per minute. Let's also slow our speed down to 230 knots. Now the A330 is a larger aircraft, so it's important to get it established and stabilized well ahead of time. And I think that is the airport over there. Yeah, we should be landing at that runway, somewhere over there. Should have better visibility as we start coming in. The grainy cloud texture issue still hasn't been solved. Look how grainy that cloud is over there. I really don't know what to do to be able to solve it. But if you guys have any suggestions, leave it down in the comment section below, and it would be fun to take a look at how to solve this. It's not an issue. We discussed this earlier. It's an inherent limitation of a 1080p screen, and also an inherent limitation of drawing volumetric clouds. But any sort of help, if you guys have any workaround solutions, would be greatly appreciated. Okay. We're down to 5,000 feet. Let's also slow our rate of descent down. We don't have to descend down to 4,000 feet that quickly. There we go. Let's also go ahead and turn the runway turn-off lights as well as the nose lights on. so that we don't forget to do that later on. Let's do a quick flow check of the overhead panel from bottom to top. So no lights here, no lights here, everything looks good. Emergency exit lights are armed. We have the seatbelt sign switched on. And yeah, we're pretty much good to go, guys. Let's also get a little bit of lighting here. There we go. We'll start taking flaps and stuff as we get closer. Let's dial the range down to 20 nautical miles. Everything should be in range. And there's the beautiful city of Manila, people. It's quite metropolitan. There's a lot of stuff happening over here. Many skyscrapers and tall buildings, as well as an assortment of small buildings. Yeah, not really bad on FPS either. It's about 45 FPS is what I'm getting right now in the main cockpit view. 45 to 46 frames per second for those of you who are wondering. We have some sort of mountain structure over there in the distance. Yeah, there's a lot of natural beauty and wonder in the Philippines. So yeah, would love to come here at some point of time and explore this place. Wow, look at that. That's a screenshot right there. Alright. What time is it? 5:11 p.m. This aircraft in real life lands at about 5:16 p.m. And we did take off a little bit late, so I'm going to be okay if we landed around 5:20 p.m., which is about 9 minutes from now. That should be like a realistic time frame as to when we should be landing this aircraft. Alright, we're getting a few gusts here. We're getting about 19 knots of crosswind from 077 degrees. So, yeah. No wonder 06 was the appropriate runway to land at, and not whatever this runway is. I think it's 25. Yeah. Okay, 4,000 feet, continuing to descend down to 2,500. Let's also slow ourselves down to about 210 knots. And as we continue to slow down below 230, we'll also go ahead and take flap 1. Alright, as you can see, the speed is inkling down. It's really trying hard. A330 does seem to be very slippery. Okay, let's go ahead and take flap 1. Oh, there we go. I just was waiting before we get to below 220 knots. There we go. Okay, why are we descending like that? That's not good. What are you doing? The simulator's kind of giving me an eek here. It's increasing its speed and everything. I literally just took 1 notch of flaps. I don't know what the big problem is here. Alright, there's the right turn. Over the airport. Wish we had a wing view right now. Would be amazing. Alright, we're kind of diving down here and I don't like it. Let's slow ourselves down to 180 knots. There we go. I think that slows the aircraft down quite a bit. I don't know, the aircraft got quite excited there for a second. Don't really know what was happening. That's alright. We're doing good. Let's go ahead and arm the spoilers as well. Not going to be needing that anymore. And let's go ahead and take heading select as well. I want to fly straight before taking that left turn. We just have to intercept the localizer now, so it shouldn't be that hard to do manually. And yeah. What else do we have here? Let's look out the window. We have some sort of residential complexes over here. We have some sort of factory-looking building down there. A few small houses. So, like bungalows, maybe. That is very noisy. We have the water. We have some sort of expressway that runs along the coast. Alright, yeah, let's go sterile cockpit now. Don't want to waste too much more time. 170 knots. Let's continue slowing ourselves down. Let's also take flap 2 here. There we go. And let's take a look at the MCDU. Our landing speed is 234 knots. I don't think that's right. Landing speed can't be 234 knots. That is way too fast. So the aircraft definitely has it wrong. We'll land at about 160 knots, so we'll control our landing speed manually. Let's take the heading selector to be about there. Continue taking a left turn here, and also slowing down. There we go. You should be taking that right turn momentarily. Look at that sun glistening on the water over there in the distance. Looks absolutely fantastic. Like quite populated city down here, and in the distance you have some natural wonders like the clouds, and the cloud ceiling's actually kind of low if you guys think about it, like over here. So yeah, it looks so beautiful all in all. Alright, the glide slope's starting to come up, creep up here. So hopefully we don't overshoot the localizer capture. We won't. I got this. 2,500 feet, and we're going to maintain this altitude until we start descending on the glide slope. It is an odd approach, I'll give you that. To fly over the airport, do an entire like pattern. I'm sure there's going to be, like in real life, if you're flying with ATC, there's going to be like runway vectors, because they're not going to make you fly this idiotic pattern right over the aircraft, right over the airport and land back, you know? It's just time consuming and there's fuel being wasted. Alright, we're going to fly a little bit further and then we're going to take a right so that we can intercept the localizer well. Alright. So let's go about another nautical mile away from here, and then we'll start taking that right turn. Okay. 3 nautical miles away, let's start taking that right turn here. So self-vectoring. And there we go. Beautiful. And let's switch this to nav mode so we can see how we're turning. We're turning just fine here. Weather radar is active. Let's make sure we get on that localizer, guys. Don't want to wait too long before that happens. Let's see if we can start seeing that waypoint on the arc. There we go. It's starting to creep up here. Charlie Foxtrot 06. Supposed to be at 2,500 feet at that altitude. Let's continue the right turn. Let's go over the water here. There we go. Continue turning. Don't want to stop the turn. And as soon as we get the localizer here, we'll go ahead and arm it. The runway should be somewhere over there. Yeah, there's the runway, 06. Perfect. We're doing fine. And I'll try and see if I can set up a direct waypoint to Charlie Foxtrot 06 momentarily here. But for the meantime, we'll continue taking this turn. There we go. Perfect. We have the localizer here. It's coming in. So let's go ahead and select localizer. That should allow us to get on the right path. Localizer's armed, and that makes me very comfortable. Look at that. That was a perfect turn. There's nothing we could have done better there. And now the aircraft is kind of trying to betray me. Nah, it's fine. It's alright. We're a little bit off, but the aircraft should compensate for that automatically. And as soon as the glide slope starts coming down, we'll go ahead and take flap 3 gear down, and we'll arm the approach mode and begin to slow down for our final landing. The ILS is acting very weird. I don't know why we're not capturing it. Let's try and see if I can set up a direct waypoint. Is this some sort of issue? Because the runway is over there, and we're kind of drifting away from the ILS. Let's go ahead and arm the approach mode here. Let's take flap 3, gear down. There we go. And yeah, the localizer is kind of escaping us, so we might have to do a manual landing here. Let's go ahead and do that, guys. Yeah. Maybe this is one of the airports where the ILS is having some sort of problems. So 160 knots is going to be our final approach speed. And let's go ahead and take flap full. Everything's good to go. Let's ding the cabin. And let's go ahead. Are we going to get the localizer back? I'm just wondering if that's going to happen anytime soon. I think we might be getting the localizer back here. We're just flying towards that. Yeah, I think we might be. I'm just going to give it a little bit more time until we're at about 1,000 feet. And at that point, if we're not perfectly in line with the runway, I'll take over manual control. But yeah, the aircraft hasn't calculated the landing speed and the approach speed well. because it's still taking into account the A320 speeds instead of the A330 airframe. So yeah, that definitely needs to be fixed and implemented later on. So yeah, we're going to be going with 155 knots seems to be good. Let's speed up the aircraft a little bit here. Not very standard procedure, but it is what it is. But look at that. Manila looks absolutely beautiful. Look at those pink sky colors in the distance, mixed with the orange colors. A few water bodies down there. Sparse scenery in the distance, but very populated scenery down here. But yeah, I think we could be capturing the localizer any second here. It's doing good. The FPS is kind of suffering here. We're getting about 30 FPS, which is normally very choppy. There we go. Okay, so yeah, no worries now. Localizer and glide slope have been captured perfectly. The angle of attack here is a little bit steep. We're pointing down, shouldn't normally be the case. And we're still not aligned with the localizer, so I'm going to go ahead and disconnect not the auto throttle, autopilot. That's what I meant. Oh, no. Get this down to 155 knots. Disconnected the wrong thing there. 155 knots. Okay, 155 knots, my aircraft. Let's go ahead and see what we can do here. We need to get it on the right track. So for those of you who are trying to fly into Manila, especially runway 06, know that the ILS is kind of broken. So it's hard to fly into this airport. But we do have a few nice, beautiful night lights over here. I'm just going to go ahead and take a quick screenshot here. There we go. And we're going to try and see if we can get it down here safely. Let's align ourselves. A little bit high on the pappies here. Should be capturing the glide slope. There we go. 2 reds, 2 whites. Continuing. – 100 feet. A little bit high. Let's go ahead and retard the thrust levers a little bit early. Wow. Why is it pitching up? Alright, well, retarded the thrust levers already. Let's go ahead and take reverse thrust. There we go. I would say it was a smooth landing, but we floated it a little bit, but that was very odd. So yeah, if you're planning to fly this aircraft in this simulator, know that it's not a very accurate representation of an A330. Definitely not. Let's take manual braking, and reversers can come off. We'll go ahead and vacate the runway right about... we'll go ahead and vacate the runway in front. We don't have to vacate it here. So yeah, let's continue on this path. Here we go. But yeah, if you're planning to fly this aircraft in this simulator, know that the A330 is not the A330. It's basically the A320, but with an airframe of the A330. It's ported directly from FSX, so don't really expect it to be pairware quality or even the quality of the freeware A320 mod. Should be having updates coming very soon though. Alright, we can vacate here. Slow the aircraft down to about 15 nautical miles. Oh, sorry, no, 15 knots of ground speed. And let's take the flaps in. Let's take this left turn here and backtrack along this runway and take a right and then go park at Terminal 3 like we decided. Should be a pretty self-explanatory taxi. Let's continue this left turn here. There we go. Okay, let's get the weather radar off. Predicted wind shear can come off. TCAS can come to standby. We'll get the lights all off. Get the dome light up and running. Strobe can go to off. Runway turnoff can go to off, and nose light can come to taxi. Wing light can also come here to this taxi position. We'll get the APU up and running as well. There we go, and we'll take the next right here. Next right should be, yeah, next right should be good. Slow ourselves down a little bit here. Taking the turn. The aircraft also wobbles a lot. I don't know if you guys are able to notice this, but the aircraft does wobble quite a bit for some reason when we're taxiing. There we go. Nice, smooth right turn. And yeah, you see the wobble when I'm taking the right? It's as if like the entire aircraft is trying to balance itself on the wings. Let's go ahead and turn off the landing, flight directors, auto throttle, landing systems, airport on their side, constraint on my side. And yeah, everything else is pretty much good to go. We just have to go there and park at any point in that terminal. So there's quite a few jetways. We'll go ahead and park next to our brethren of other aircraft. There's only going to be A320s out there, but it is what it is. Let's get the ND and the PFD brightness a little bit lower. It's a little bit blinding at night. But yeah, overall, for an experimental prototype of an aircraft, it was a smooth landing. Yeah, it was good. Right, take a right here. And for some reason, the taxiway markings here have also kind of perished for some reason. That is A-okay, no worries, we got it. The airport looks good. It looks absolutely fantastic. Okay, we'll take a right here. And we'll park at this gate. So start slowing yourselves down. Brake here and start taking a right. Here we go. Overshot that a little bit. Let's also go ahead and turn off the taxi light. Not that there's any marshaller or anything, but we don't want to blind anybody. So slow ourselves down and let's go to the external view. Oh, overshot that quite a bit. That's alright. Okay. We're here. Parking brake is set. Let's go ahead. APU is armed, so let's get the APU bleed up and running, and let's turn off both the engines. There we go. Engines are off. Waiting for 25% on the N2 to turn off the beacon lights. There we go. Beacon light can now come off. Go ahead and turn off the fuel pumps here as well. And what else is left to do? We can get the seatbelt signs off. Disembark the passengers. Emergency exit lights can come off. No longer need that. And yeah, ladies and gentlemen, that was the A330 Hong Kong Airlines for all the way from Hong Kong to Manila. A very beautiful evening Manila. We'll try and see if we can get this outro done in a right fashion. So we'll go all the way up like this. There we go. Look at that. So yeah, beautiful Manila, very broken ILS approach into runway 06, relatively broken mod, so no wing view, so no cinematics, as well as the actual airframe and the actual calculations for the fuel burn, as well as for the landing speed were inaccurate in the aircraft. So the aircraft does need to be updated quite a bit for it to be suitable to fly. So for at the moment, if you ask me in Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020, if you're looking to fly airliners, I would highly recommend you only fly the A320 NX mod because it gets a lot of love in terms of the constant regular updates as well. And the salty simulation 747-800 as well as the 747-400 by Canadian mods. Both of them have been ported over. The first one, the 800, is obviously native to Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020, but the 400 edition of the 747 has been ported from FSX. But the salty simulations sort of enhancements for the 747 still work on it. So those three are your best bet at the moment. There are other aircraft that you can fly. You should probably do VFR, but as of now, until some quality payware add-ons are released for the simulator, I think those are your best bets. But yeah, beautiful approach. It was fun. As usual, leave it down in the comment section below what routes you would like me to fly next time. I do take into account what you guys want to fly. For example, I am going to be giving a go at the Adelaide to Singapore flight that was suggested by Craig in the comment section last time. So do let me know if there's any specific routes you'd like me to fly, and I would be happy to oblige. As usual, thanks for checking the video out. If you guys enjoyed, please make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, press that bell icon so you don't miss future videos uploaded from this channel, and thanks for flying by.